is Monday, and we have Dan Meyer on the couch with us here from the Boone Area Chamber of Commerce. So thank you so much for being here today.
Always good to be here with you ladies.
Well, thank you.
Share a little bit about what's going on.
Absolutely.
We have a big meeting coming up on Thursday night. It's our business after hours. They have just gotten, it's not correct grammar, huger and huger. The last couple we've had well over 100 people, and we're expecting that many again this Thursday night. We're going to be at Caldwell Community College. They have a new building they're opening. They're celebrating 100 years, and they are a wonderful partner for businesses here in the high country. We often think, and we often have that immediate jump when we think of after high school, we jump to the university. But the reality is, university is not for everybody. And Caldwell and other community college are much more nimble in being able to respond to business needs than the university is. Now, the university is still great for career development and all that. But, for instance, a few years ago, when we had a real dearth of trades, construction trades, they responded very quickly and had programs for carpentry and HVAC and all that, and they rolled them out real quick. Unfortunately, of course, then we hit the wall with the bubble, but they had prepared people ready for jobs, and we forget sometimes that trades, associate degrees, certificate programs are very important to many people in our community, and they've got folks in the welding right now that are graduating, and they're getting $60,000 a year jobs. So you have to decide. The most important thing for a young student to think about, and their parents, is, look, what is that what's that student's passion? And there's an old proverb that says, train up a child in the way that he should go. What that really means in the original is train up a child in the way he's bent.
Right.
And if somebody's bent this way and you try to do this, what happens? You'll break them. And now they may do what you want to do, but they're not going to be happy doing it because that's not their natural bent. Personality, skills, just interests. So find out what that young person's really passionate about, and then aim them that direction towards their bent. That's what 100 level classes are in college even. They're introduction to this, introduction to that, so that the student can say, oh, yeah, not really ain't going there. Or, oh, wow, this really trips my trigger. I'm really interested in this, So the community college is a wonderful place. It's a wonderful place to start an education, a college education, because classes are transferable should you choose to go that way, or they can move into a trade or a vocation right there on those campuses. So Caldwell is a huge player. Their small business center is a great resource for many of our businesses. They provide lots of workshops on everything from specialized computer skills and programs, running programs, to selling and to learning about accounting and all of those kinds of things. So Caldwell has just been a great partner. And again, they're celebrating their 100th year, and we're just pleased to have them in our community. So we'll be there Thursday night from 5 to 7, and President will be there to kind of cut a ribbon or to introduce the new building. Not sure quite where they are in construction yet, if we'll actually be able to get inside yet without hard hats on, but we will see. And that's going to be a great addition, because what that's going to do is going to move everything about Caldwell in Watauga onto one campus. They have been everywhere in the county over the past 20 years, and this will bring it all together, which really adds great energy to the campus and for the students, ease of access and all those kind of things. So, absolutely. Plus, Caldwell Community College and Technical Institute has the best view in the entire North Carolina Community College system. If you've never been up to that campus, and it's right up 105 Extension out here, it is spectacular.
It is.
They have a
beautiful.
spectacular view. So we encourage folks to come. Please RSVP to the Chamber at 264-2225 if you intend to come. We want to be kind to our hosts, and Their culinary program is going to be providing the refreshments. One of the wine programs from one of the other community college is going to be doing wine tasting, not testing. Well, that's the same thing.
Yeah.
And so we encourage folks to come, but please RSVP. Got to do that. Other things happening, we have our ongoing committee meetings going on, our business development committee, because on May 1st is our
Business Expo.
There you go. Good. I didn't even have to cue you on that, did I?
No.
Because you're going to be there, right?
I am going to be there.
There you go.
I'm excited. We've been there for a long time.
I know. Right now we've got four of our automobile dealers are going to be there with some of their new cars. We've got a variety of folks inside as well. This is going to be a telling and selling show. This is the first time we've done that. And if folks would like to have a booth at the expo, they need to call us at the chamber. Again, 264-2225, and reserve that spot. If you're interested in selling, you've got to work through Meredith Golden, who's the manager at the mall. They have some things that have to be in order for selling at the show. But it's going to be a great day. We're doing some things a little different this year, and our drawings are going to go to vendors this year. We'll have candy out and things like that, and there'll be different giveaways that folks will have. But we want our businesses to benefit from each other. So it's really going to be a business-to-business expo as well as business to the community. So that's Thursday, May 1st at the Boone Mall. So we want them there for that. Well, I just got back Friday from the CACCE conference. That's Carolina Association of Chamber of Commerce Executives. This was our Leadership Development Conference. We have two conferences a year, the Leadership Development Conference in April, and then the Management Conference in October. The Leadership Development Conference is primarily for staff to pick up skills regarding the different functions that they have within the chamber. And then our Management Conference is in the fall, which is primarily for the execs and maybe a board member or something like that to talk about policy and operations of the chamber and HR issues, human resource issues, those kinds of things. And this year that program, the program we just had, was at Great Wolf Lodge. They have an incredible conference center down there, really nice. And families were able to come, and we conferred, and they played. And then this fall, the conference is going to be in Greenville, South Carolina. So we're looking forward to that. The next Leadership Development Conference in next May, it's going to be right here in Boone. So we're looking forward to that. Probably be over at Chatola. And so everybody there was very excited about coming up to the mountains. And so we'll hook up with some of our local attractions and things like that so that families who come can enjoy that while the participants are doing their thing. Let me just share with you, here are some of the topics, though, that were presented. Customer service excellence, huge issue. That's something that we as a chamber strive to pass along information, and I'm going to do that in a few minutes, to our members about what things they can do to help their staff, be that first person, that great response that a new customer has when they walk in the door, when they answer a phone, anything like that. Another one was on developing your Shop Local programs. So we picked up some ideas on our Shop Local. You all have seen that sticker, I am sure. I ought to just stick one right there on my forehead. How'd that be? Our Shop Local program. And we picked up some new ideas of things that we can do to develop that, to get that word out even with better coverage. Building relationships with members, very important. We're a membership organization. We want to be sure our customers are happy. So we're going to be doing some new things regarding that to test and see that they do perceive value. That's always an important thing. And so we're going to do that. There was a session on government affairs training. Many programs have advocacy programs. We do. And the speaker was from the U.S. Chamber. And he did a great job. Here's one on, we did a thing on speed coaching. It had different tables where they talked about, one table was for events, one for board issues, one for communication, one for leadership programs, one for young professionals. And so you'd sit 15 minutes and then hop to the next one around. We had some great ones on use of email and Facebook and communications. And then the last session, we just all sat together and everybody shared ideas, their best ideas. We just called it best practice. And so somebody says, well, I do this. And somebody says, well, I do this. And pick up from each other some ideas. So Barbara Armstrong, our manager of administrative service, and Wisteria White, our manager of member services, both went, had a great time. And so it was just a really great 3 days down there. So we appreciate those of you that called the chamber that might have heard that we were not available. That's where we were. Just as we encourage folks, and we have in the past, about best business practices, we have to do that for ourselves. We want to be sure as a chamber that we're using the best business practices for our members and for our business community. So let me just share a couple things about customer service. And these are called no-nos of customer service. These are things you don't say when a customer comes to you. Number one is you don't say, no problem. We kind of think, well, that means, well, it's not a big deal. Well, who said it was a problem to begin with? Mm-hmm. It's just you don't treat a customer and talk about their issues as being no problem. You want to do what you can for them. You want to say, well, thanks for coming in. I appreciate you coming in. Come back and see us again. You don't just on the way out say, no problem. You want to engage them and have them back. It shows direct appreciation when you say thank you for coming into our facility. Oh, here's another one. Please hold. If you took the time to answer the phone, then answer the phone.
Right.
If you can't, you are better off actually to have that person rotate to a voicemail or where they can leave something or a message. If you answer the phone, then answer the phone. No, but none of us like to be put on hold, and you get the elevator music, and you're out there in La La Land, and you don't know if they've even, and people often forget to come back and pick up your call. So none of the please hold. Here's another one that you just love. Well, just a minute. You'll have to speak to so and so.
You get transferred.
You get the transfers, the transfers. Here's something we encourage our business people to do with their staff, and that is your staff person, whoever's answering the phone, hopefully it's the first person that gets to that customer, they should be able to answer 95% of the questions.
It's true.
You shouldn't have to transfer them. Now, there's going to be different situations. Well, so if I wanted to call up a CPA firm and I might have a question, it would make sense that the person at the front desk is not going to know all the details and intimacies of my tax return, so I need to get to somebody. That's appropriate.
Right.
But if it's a question about what's that date that the taxes are due, by the way, tomorrow, they ought to be able to say, well, by midnight, April 15th, or postmarked by midnight, April 15th, they would know that. Mm-hmm. And other things that are generic to your business, they ought to have the vast majority of the answers. So not that business about transferring it on. Here's another sign I hate to see. All sales final. Does that mean then that if I have a dissatisfied customer, that I don't try to deal with that? I don't try to help them out? Because if all sales are final, guess what? That may be the only time, the one and only time, that I'll ever see that customer, because they won't come back if they have an issue. In fact, some people won't even purchase because if they see that, they say, well, what if I got the wrong color? What if I got the wrong size? What if it doesn't fit? Sales are final.
Right.
That's just a put off right at the front door or right by the cash register. That's not a good thing. If you have a specific return policy or something, make sure that's evident, but also be flexible. I never will forget, I had a car and we were coming down the West Virginia Turnpike, coming back to Boone, and don't you know, it went kapooey. And the car had 30,100 miles on it. Now, what expires at 30,000 miles in most cars?
Warranty.
Warranty. I stopped my car. This was in Virginia. I called the local dealer and I said, hey, I'm on a trip. I just turned literally 30,100 miles. Can you help me? Because I mean, and they could have said, sorry. Well, so what you're telling me is I should have stopped at 29,999 miles, which is out in the wilderness of the West Virginia Turnpike, and then tried to get it fixed. They were very flexible. They understood that. And in fact, I had them come and get the car and have it fixed on here, as opposed to going to the same company dealership in that town and having it fixed there. So you may have specific things, but you have to have some flexibility with it.
Right.
There are extenuating circumstances. If you ever bump into an irate customer, the last thing you want to say is, oh, please calm down, calm down. Wait a minute. What you need to do is allow them to vent, because something ain't right. Allow them to vent, and then say, man, I understand how you feel. Let me see if there's a way that we can work on this. Let them get it out. I mean, hopefully that there is a limit to that, but they want to know they're being heard. Mm-hmm. And if you interrupt or you try to calm them down, that basically is saying, look, I'm under control. You're the one out of control. Get it together. And again, that's just not good customer service. Here's one I love. That's against company policy.
You hear that a lot.
You do. Now, businesses have to have rules. And it's appropriate to say at some point, this is not the policy of our company. But let me see if there's something that we can do to be of help. It may be a return policy. You say, I'm sorry, I cannot return it. It's just against our policy. You took that swimming suit home, you used it twice, and now you're bringing it. No, you don't say it that way. But it's obviously been used. I cannot take that back.
Right.
I cannot take it back. However, I will give you a coupon good for blah, blah, blah against your next purchase or something like that. Offer them something in return, even though you can't do everything. We had reserved a house up in Ohio for this July for a big family reunion. Well, it isn't going to work out. And I'd put down a $500 deposit, and it said if it was within 90 days, you'd get half of it back, and that if it was shorter, you wouldn't get any back. And I called and I told him, I said, look, we've had some extenuating medical issues and some other things have come up, and we will not be able to do it. And the person was very gracious and said, well, it's not our policy, but under the circumstances, we'll be glad to refund your whole deposit. Well, that was super, because I'd have been grumping around if I only got half of it back, and because that, I just don't usually take a $250 bill. There isn't one of those, and just light a match to it and watch it burn. That's real money. So find a way. Another one is to say, I don't know. Better to say, I'll help find the answer. I mean, we might want to say, I really don't know that, but it's still better to start at the beginning in a positive way. Let me help find an answer for your question. And that shows, again, your involvement with the customer and your interest in meeting their needs. Oh, this is a good one. Well, to be perfectly honest, now does that mean the rest of the time you're not perfectly honest?
Makes you wonder.
That's something that's said. That doesn't add to credibility. It's kind of saying, well, I'm sharing with it. We got a way around this, but it's just for you. That's not a good way of leading it. Be right up front. Sometimes just don't say anything, as opposed to saying something like that. You want to be credible and you want to be helpful to the customer. Another one is, why don't you just go to our website? Dummy. That's kind of the way that comes off. Well, guess what? Most of the people have already been to your website. That's why they're calling you, because they didn't find something.
Right.
And so then you say, well, I'm glad you went to our website. Let's search it together. Or let me email you the direct link to that part of the website or something like that. When you refer it to an impersonal something, that just doesn't go over real well. Because they'll get there and they won't find what they're looking for, and then they're going to have to call you back. And so you meet their need the first time. Another thing, there may be the occasion to use it, but just that phrase, I'm sorry. Better to say, I'll try to fix this problem. Apologies are great, but keep it on the positive sense. Always important to do that. Always be solutions focused as opposed to complaint focused. When somebody brings you a complaint, be quick to find a solution for it. So those are just some phrases that are kind of no-nos for your frontline customer service people, and no matter how far up the line it goes. Some people know, well, you've got to call this company 3 times before you get through to the supervisor, and then you got to talk with the supervisor 3 times before. That kind of stuff shouldn't happen.
Right.
95% of it ought to be able to be taken care of by the first person they get, and those that can't be, the response ought to be, let me see what I can do for you. Let me find the information out. Let me direct you to a better answer, or let me participate with you in finding a solution. Because if you do it, that customer's going to be happy, and they'll come back.
Yes.
If you just shut them down with some of these phrases, or shut them down with just passing them to somebody else, or shut them down by putting them on hold, or just sending them to your website, the chances are they won't be coming back.
Absolutely.
And a bird in the hand is worth 2 in the bush. We often spend a lot of time trying to cultivate new customers and new members and that type of thing. Very important that we be sure that we are appropriately meeting the needs of our existing customers. Always galls me when I find out that a company is offering a special deal to a new customer that they aren't offering to somebody that's been a loyal customer. They even give you a card, loyal customer since 1974, and they're selling their service to somebody for half price of what I'm paying it just because they're a new customer.
Right.
That doesn't bode well with a lot of folks.
Yeah.
Take care of your customers, and they will be loyal customers, and then they will be your marketing out. Hey, you want to go to this person. They did a great job for me. Go here because they do great customer service. Ask for this person because you've developed a relation. All those kind of things. So watch how you treat your customers.
Definitely. Well, some great advice as always. Thank you so much for coming in today, Dan.
Always a pleasure to be here.
Of course.
See you next week.
We'll see you right back here next Monday, and we will be back right after these messages with more of the Mountain Television Network.